what I've learned, and I think the best advice that I can give and advice that I follow for myself is that it's not about achieving a perfectly balanced schedule, which is what I used to think and what I would strive for, would to have this perfectly balanced schedule. It's really about priorities and being in tune with what those priorities are that week, that day. And there's certain days where I just have to say, painting is not a priority for me today or even this week because I have X, Y, and Z that I have to get done. But then other times we have to prioritize our art practice, right?
Welcome to the Arts to Hearts podcast, a show where we take a peek into the hearts and lives of our favorite artists. From running a creative business and practice to mindset, we talk about everything that goes behind into making a life and a career that you adore as an artist. Think of this as your happy hour with your favorite artist in your studio. Hear them share the messy and the wonderful side of creating and living a creative, heartfelt life within and outside our studios. As you tune in, be ready to be inspired and encouraged. I'm your host, Charuka Arora, an artist, designer, entrepreneur, and founder of Arts to Hearts project. Thank you so much for being here. Let's jump right in. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Arts to Hearts podcast. This is your host, Charuka, and this is a fresh new episode with a fresh new approach. So, if you're a regular listener, you would know that the typical podcast on my podcast are generally interviews, conversations with an artist, a curator, or for that matter, anyone else. But today, I thought I wanted to shake things up and, you know, just uh, just have some fun. I actually have not one, but two very special guests, and they are just both lovely human beings, beautiful artists, and very amazing creative entrepreneurs. And we thought to have our usual calls and like so we keep calling each other and talk and like there's a lot of things that happen. And we thought that let's give you a sneak peek of what usually happens when artists, women, creative entrepreneurs come together. So welcome to the podcast, Victoria and Mona. Victoria is the founder of Visionary Art Collective, and Mona is the founder of Art Moms United. Both are global art platforms. And this is what I have to say, but I want them to introduce themselves. So, can you guys go ahead? Welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Charuka, for inviting us.
Thank you for coming. Hello, Mona.
Hi. Thank you so much. Who starts? So, as you said, my name is Mona. I'm currently based in the Czech Republic, which is Central Europe. I am a 36 this year, 36-year-old artist. I never know. I never remember.
Wow.
And I am also an entrepreneur. I run the platform that Charuka mentioned, which is Art Moms United. I am now launching my new project, so a busy girl. And I am also an artist coach, so I run a membership community, and I focus on women artists. So Art Moms United was specifically made for art moms, but inclusive also of fur moms. And now I'm sort of like shifting the gears a little towards women artists in general. So that's pretty much like my short introduction.
Amazing.
Lovely. Victoria?
Yes, and I love hearing Mona speak about her platform as well because it is such an incredible and uplifting space for women artists and for mothers. So yeah, I'm Victoria. I'm really excited to be here and chatting with you both. And I'm the founder of Visionary Art Collective, which is a platform that celebrates contemporary art and education. So we have a few different branches, but ultimately it is a space for both artists and educators to come together and share their work. We have online exhibits, we have workshops. We are now offering a mentorship program. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm just happy to be a part of it and have connected with so many amazing people through the platform, like both of you. And I think that's actually been the best part, is connecting with these amazing women. And yeah, it's just exciting. I'm super excited about it.
Oh my God, yes. And you know what? I also mentioned this to Mona and Victoria in the beginning of this conversation, which is actually a recording, that I don't want to be a host and interviewer at this time. So this won't be an interview disclaimer. This isn't an interview episode. And we just wanted to talk. Like, I just thought that this would be a fun episode where we could just, Mona, me, and Victoria generally catch up in between, and we discuss our lives and our creative careers, our creative businesses, and things that are happening behind the scenes. And, mm, general general things that usually what real life offers to us. And I thought that it would be a nice idea to show and have that conversation here on the podcast, to give people a sneak peek behind what really happens when you are a full-time artist. You're also running a platform, especially as women. So uh, who wants to start?
Okay, so I had an idea, like when you were speaking about, what's happening behind the scenes, that maybe people just see like the tip of the iceberg. So they see us posting on social media, doing promoting other artists, promoting our opportunities, but they don't really know what is behind the scenes, like how much work that actually is. That some artists, I think, would like to know what we do in our, I wouldn't just say free time, it's not the free time, in our work time. So this is my suggestion of a
Yes,
topic, probably. So
amazing. That's a great idea, actually.
yeah.
Okay, let's break this idea into a few questions. Okay, let me throw you one question, and each one of us under this topic, let's ask one each us, like each one of us one question. So my question, and I will also answer from my end, is what is the hardest thing has been for you so far as someone who's an artist and also running a creative platform, an artist platform? Let's go. Victoria, you start, then Mona, then I'll come.
Sure. And thank you. I think that's such an important question because, as you said, Sharuka, so many people see our platforms and they're engaged and they're excited, but we are on the back end. And so it's certainly, as exciting and amazing as it is certainly challenging at times. But, in my experience, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. But I would say some of the challenges would be really just finding a way to balance my time as the founder of a platform, but also as an artist, and feeling like I am sort of creative, being getting, I don't know the word, getting creatively fulfilled, creatively fulfilling myself, um, in terms of my own art practice, because so much of what we do, right, it's providing opportunities for other artists, it's mentoring other artists, and that is like the core of what we're doing, is to increase visibility and showcase work by so many amazing artists around the globe. But it's also important that we are practicing art ourselves. We're all artists here, right? So for me,
Yeah.
it's finding that balance that I think I'm still working to find, of creating my work in a way that feels really good and authentic and genuine, while I'm also working to, provide these opportunities through the platform, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
Hmm.
absolutely it does.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel the
Mona.
same way. I always say, like, when someone asks me about challenges, I'm always like, time! I need longer days. And it's, so I used to, when I launched the platform, I used to work only when my son was napping or when he was asleep in the evening, but he's not napping any longer during the day. So sometimes I just need to find the balance. Like, okay, you watch this cartoon, and I always wanted to avoid that, but I like there's no other option for me sometimes to just like, give him the cartoons. He watches that. I'm like, mommy will work for a bit, right? And then he also wants
Yeah,
to help me, which is difficult sometimes. But I think, for me, especially because and Charuka, you will know this, like we are on the
yeah,
other side of the world. Like I'm Central Europe,
yeah.
which means I'm 6 hours ahead of Victoria. So most of my audience, or our audience, I have to say our because I have a partner now for Art Moms United, Valentine. So I can finally say we and our. So so yeah, so we our clients, our audience is mostly in the US. So I have to work
Yeah.
sometimes till late night because, to accommodate the time
Yeah.
zones as well. And so definitely I agree with Victoria when you said that you need to focus on your art as well. It just makes me
Yeah.
so happy when I go back, to the role of the artist who's also applying for opportunities and who's also trying to be more visible and be seen and heard. So that's very exciting. But I need to like make the decision, like consciously make the decision. Okay, tomorrow is the day for my art practice, not for the platform.
Yeah. Absolutely. I completely relate to both of you, and especially like Mona, because I think being on the other part of the world, like I'm sitting in India right now, Victoria is sitting in the US, she's in Brooklyn, I'm actually sitting in Agra, and Mona is in Czech Republic. So we are actually sitting in three different parts of the world, and it and we talk a lot. We have a lot of a common community of listeners. I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this episode would know Visionary, would know Art Moms, and I think one thing that I really I have the same I would say the same things that you both are saying, but one thing I don't know if Mona can relate to this one or not. I think maybe you would also relate, Victoria, because if I see this from the other lens, like I feel like all of my community, everything is digital. I'm sitting in one part of the world. I feel so supported and connected to all of you, but I can't meet you in person. I can't see you in real. I still feel like I really want to have those conversations in real time, in real world, and that I still feel like is a gap that I still want to like fill. Apart from that, I do agree. Like this is something I've been dealing with like personally a lot, which is I think we in every season we these two I feel like I I am between two identities, one as an artist and one as a creative entrepreneur, like as a creator and as a creative entrepreneur. And in different seasons I feel like I associate with one identity more than the other, and at some times I need to understand that I need to associate I like at this time I feel more called towards this, or I have to be this because I need to show up for this. And like at some times I feel like my inner soul wants to be like more of an artist. So like finding this balance is very because as an artist, like we can go like I want to paint but I can't paint because I have work to do. I have a show to put together. I have meetings with the curator. I need to plan these call for arts or like workshop or whatever. But sometimes because of what I have to do, sometimes my art practice takes a back seat.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think just
So
adding on
yeah.
to that, Taruka, what I've learned, and I think the best advice that I can give and advice that I follow for myself is that it's not about achieving a perfectly balanced schedule, which is what I used to think and what I would strive for, would to have this perfectly balanced schedule. It's really about priorities and being in tune with what those priorities are that week, that day. And there's certain days where I just have to say, painting is not a priority for me today or even this week because I have X, Y, and Z that I have to get done. But then other times we have to prioritize our art practice, right? And for me, prioritizing my art practice might not look like spending hours and hours in the studio or days and days in the studio because that's just not practical for right now. But prioritizing my art practice means carving out 2 to 3 days a week, even if it's just for 45 minutes each day, to just work a little bit on my art. So I try and just think in terms of priorities, but sometimes it is important to prioritize our art. And then we just have to be realistic with, like one thing I'm saying to myself now is it's not about how much time I have, it's about what I can do um, with the time that I have. So even if I only have 30 minutes today to work on my art, if I can show up for those 30 minutes and be really, really present, it's actually amazing. It amazes me how much I can get done in such a short time, you know, if I'm really present and I'm there and I'm focused. But yeah, so hopefully that hopefully that's helpful for anyone else that's experiencing this, because as Mona said,
Yes.
right, like sometimes we just want more hours in the day, and it's hard to fit everything in, especially Mona, you're a mom, and you know that adds a whole other level if you have a family that you're
Oh
caring
my
for.
God.
So I'd love to hear also,
That's like
Mona, like,
another, yeah. Yeah,
yeah, I'd
me
love to
too.
hear,
Mona, would you want to share about that?
yeah, tell us a bit about that and how you balance that.
Okay. I just wanted to add to this one more thing. It's so important for me not to like have those two identities at the same time, because me being an artist means that I understand my audience a little more, rather than, if I was only someone who just decided because of love of art, or I don't know, who decided to create a platform and create opportunities. It's Being an artist is so important for me in this process as well, because then I can identify the needs of the people that come to the platform, and who are like looking for opportunities. So that's just like one thing I wanted to add to this, that it's like, in a way, I know we feel sometimes like, oh, I'm either an artist or, an entrepreneur, but at the same time it's so intertwined. Like, the whole package really means that we understand our artists a little more.
Yeah.
And to your question about motherhood, oh, I don't know. I I literally, like, I have no idea, because for me, I have this friend who is a coach for women. Like, she is all about like women energies and everything. And she always tells me, like, how do you do these things? Like, how is it possible that you don't, you're not crazy, or you're not tired, exhausted, and stuff like that? And I always say it's because I love what I do. It's just like I've never felt
Yeah,
so much freedom in my life. So even if I
yeah.
have to stay up till 3 a.m. in the morning, which happened a lot the last month and a half since the art prize, so I had to do work, and I wasn't able to do it during the day because of my son, for example, being home and my husband maybe away for work. Um, it still makes me really happy. Like, I don't feel any pressure that I used to feel in my previous career. And I know that I can always take the next day off if I work too much one day. It's just that freedom for myself. So the whole experience of, being a mom, and for me, it's a matter of showing my son that he can do anything. Like, I don't have an artistic background. I have a background in internal security, so a completely different field, and I just decided to do this, and I'm really happy, and it makes me fulfilled. And I think, my main thing is to show him that he can choose and decide whatever he wants to do, and just work towards that goal. And that's something that drives me forward every single time. But in terms of like time balance and stuff like that, that is difficult, and it will never be ideal. It will never be ideal. Even like now, he started kindergarten in September. He goes for 2 days a week, and I still haven't had a chance to have that day for myself and my art, just because things are happening. And I
Yeah.
think we
Yeah.
just have to be nice to ourselves and kind, and just see that, okay, there will be other day when you do things that you need to
Yeah.
do. Just today I need to be present for him, because he needs to see that work can be enjoyable, and that he can have his own dreams and goals, and he can work towards them. So that's like my main thing.
I mean, even it's, I think, having a layer of family, children is another added layer that makes it even more, I think, complex than it already feels.
Yeah.
So you are definitely doing an incredible job, Mona, because
Thank
you're
you.
you are just, I feel like, how are you even doing it?
I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea.
You're doing amazing, and it's so inspirational. I just want to add, because
Thank you.
even on days where I feel like I have a million things on my plate, um, I feel not lucky because I'm sure, you know, it is amazing to have a child and that's something I want in the coming years. But I just say to myself like, okay, it's just you know, you can do this. But I have so much respect and deep admiration for working moms, moms who are,
Yeah.
you know, whether they're working full time, part time, whether it's their own company that they started or they're part of it, you know, another company, whatever it might be. I just think that that's such an incredible um, thing because you know, I was listening to Oprah the other day and she said that being a parent is the ultimate self-sacrifice, and I was like,
Oh
wow,
my God.
it really is. And so to balance that responsibility with everything you're doing, it's really admirable. So I just want to say I take my hat off to you and to any mom out there because moms are superheroes and I can't even
Absolutely.
imagine. So yeah, it's amazing. It's really
Yes.
inspiring.
I think primarily I've shared this a lot of times already here, but I feel like as I move forward in running the platform and building this community, I feel even more connected to why I started this. Because when I actually started the platform, I was in a very toxic place. And I did not come from an art school. I literally knew nobody here. And I did not connect a lot. Like I did not connect with a lot of people here in India. And I have a very creative, like I have a very entrepreneurial mindset. I've been an entrepreneur for so long that I knew that this was the way for me to go forward. I needed to feel something. I needed to have that drive. I wanted to bring like a community and things together, that everything that I'm doing with Arts to Arts now. And but more than all of those things, I think the first thing was that I felt so lonely and so like unsupported, that I was like, I just can't go. I mean, nobody's going to come to me. And if I can't find something just next to me, like in my geography, I need to expand my horizons. I need to get out of this, and I need to do something that, I mean, it started from a very selfish reason, if I have to be 100% honest. And even till today, it is very self motivated, because I know that what it truly feels to be alone and not have a support system around you. I feel extremely grateful to have you guys around, but I know how much I value this, because when you don't have something and when you get it. So I started Arts to Hearts because I knew that I wanted to create a more transparent space where we could have such conversations and say out loud things that people would generally hide away. And that was why this podcast or Arts to Hearts or all of these things started, because, you know, no matter what corner of the world we sit, what language we speak, what nationality we come from, we all still share the same belief systems, same passion, same ambition, everything.
Yeah, so for me, one thing was that I knew the importance of a community, of having a tribe of like minded people around myself. And I also didn't have that much support from people in my like proximity or surroundings or whatever you call it. So like my husband is very supportive, but for so many people it was this weird step I decided to take because of my career, and a successful career in a completely different field. So it was not logical at all. And so till this day people ask me, so what do, you draw? I'm like, well, yeah. Because I don't need to explain my decisions to anyone. So the first, really like the first motivation and my first why was to create a tribe of people to receive and give that support as well. And so obviously I mentioned that before I wanted to change the career, so it was also like financial situation and creating another income stream as well. That was one of the reasons, and I think this is something that we should maybe talk about more in the future. I don't mean today, because people still they still have troubles talking about money and like income and everything. And I think this is so important, because that income allows us to create more opportunities for other people as well. So this is a
Yeah.
crucial part of our businesses too. And yeah, and I just decided, when I started with my art, with my art practice, I received so much support from strangers, and I was surrounded by a beautiful community of artists, and I just wanted to give back to them as well. So those are like my main reasons behind launching a platform and creating opportunities.
Yeah, love that. Love that. I think that is why we've all been able to stick together, support each other, and come together, is because we all lack that kind of belongingness and always wanted that kind of belongingness. And I feel like the most important thing is, I feel like for me, the most important thing that my art career or any of this has given me are these relationships. The relationship that I've got with you, Mona, Kat, so many other people, so many people that um, I wouldn't have met otherwise. And I still remember, and I shared this with both of you on a last call actually. So when we had like our gaze, so we launched our gaze open call and we did like a live opening for the call. And so we selected 35 artists, I think. And the curator for that call was Svetlana. And unfortunately, something happened like extremely on the last moment and she couldn't make it. So she actually, I asked her if she could record a message so that she could just compensate. Like, we wanted her to be a part of the process. We had 35 artists selected. And at that point we were like, it was just 2 months ago, I think 2 or 3 months ago. And at that point I felt like who would come for a Zoom opening, but for me that doing a Zoom opening was the only way out, because I can't bring like people together right now in a physical space which is all international. So I thought, only a few people would turn out, and I was okay with that as long as anyone who would want to. We sent out the invites and everything. And to my surprise, 62 people turned out. We selected 35 and we invited a little more, and we told those people if they wanted to invite someone on their behalf. And 62 people came in. I was stunned. I was stunned. And then we did this preview of a we launch video, like the gaze opening exhibit video. And then all of the artists actually spoke about themselves. And then a few of them cried. And I can't even tell you I mean, I had such a wonderful night that day, because I've for me, I mean, when I was even putting that show together, all of those things, I just felt, yeah, I'm doing something. I felt passionate about it. I felt involved, and the topic was so good. But when the artists actually spoke about their work and how much they felt like they saw the video, and how much it made them feel, because of the work that we displayed and everything. And I felt that was this moment, and it felt like, oh my god, the work that we've done has made this kind of an impact to someone. I don't know what else to feel. I mean, it felt like a full circle moment for me. Like like a moment where I remember someone who's given me, like I remember me doing my first like online show, getting selected and then being a part. And I still remember, oh my god, they picked me. Oh my god, I am a part of this, and speaking up at like a first event. And I think these small things, like how it uplifts other people, how it brings them that joy and meaning.
Hmm. Yeah, I think for me, like, the most amazing thing was when I started with the platform, and my first goal for art was for the directory and interviews, and the women were sharing so many incredible things with me. And to this day, when I do an interview, I actually read through the whole thing. Like, I know that I thought it will be impossible once the platform really grows, but I want to have that connection with people, and I want to know the artists who trusted in me to submit their like life story. And so I read through so many different interviews throughout the year, and so many of them made me so emotional. Of course, that is part of me being an empath, but at the same time, it's like I really feel the connection with other people through their stories. And I think that is one thing as well. Like, I realized that by sharing my story, I can empower and inspire someone else to, like, you know, bite their tongue and step away from that position where they find themselves right now, and like grow and live their dream life, because it's possible. It was possible for me, so it's possible for anyone else. And maybe if I inspire that person, and I had beautiful messages from people, from other artists saying, oh, you're so inspiring, and it just makes me, I felt like someone who's very ordinary, and this makes me feel like, yeah, I can help someone, like I can empower someone. So, I'm doing something special, and yeah, it's I agree with Charu. It's just like the best feeling ever when you are helping other people to live their dream life.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that's true. You know, another thing, completely selfish again. But what now that we're not now that we're talking about, I also feel like I wouldn't have gotten the perspective and the learning that I have got running through the platform, and I continue to. I feel like my mind, even now where I'm sitting in one corner of the world, has opened up so much because I speak to so many creators in a month. I have studio visits every week, and I speak to curators that, I mean, it's opened up my mind so much that if I was not running this platform, I think like it would have taken a lot of effort to gain this kind of information, to gain these kind of experiences, because I would have, because I think there's also another thing, when I if I have to approach a curator for myself, I have this resistance. I don't know why. Honest, 100% honest. But if I have to reach out to someone for Arts to Hearts, it's not personal. It's very business. It's very mutual. And I, even if they refuse, I'm good with it. And I found that this, like, I got this, a lot of things I was able to ease into because of running the platform, and of course experiences I have gained because of running the platform, and that has also helped me as an artist. Now I know, like, now I no longer have to take personally that why I wasn't accepted into a call for art, because today I definitely know what goes behind the selection procedure, how nothing is personal, how space. I still remember in our first call for art, when I wasn't like, I'm not, when we have guest curators so many times, I want, like, I like someone's work, and when I see, like, I see the submissions, I like someone's work, and when I see the final list of selected participants, and I see, like, oh my god, the ones that I really liked are not on the list, and I have to be okay with that, because the guest curator is the one who's curating the show. And now if I submit somewhere and I know I'm not accepted, it's not because someone has anything against me, it's purely because there's several reasons behind that one thing. So it's given me that insight. I mean, it's a learning that would have been like very hard to learn on my own.
I think it's making us more professional in our art practices because we
Oh
experience
my God. Yes.
the things
Bingo.
from the other side.
Yes, Mona. You got this actually quite right.
Yeah. I see it in the documents as well, like when it comes to like statement, bio, my whole like presentation on online, or when I communicate with someone, it's like it just took a completely different turn to someone who's learning these things, to someone who's actually teaching these things. But if I teach that, I need to be the best example, right? So it's like I wouldn't dare, for example, to submit a thing that I submitted a year ago, because now I know the standards, and now I know what's expected from me. Now I know what triggers me as a person who reviews the things. So it's like, at the same time, I'm trying to teach the people to be more professional, because that is where you can get more successful, right?
Yeah, that's true. Victoria, I know that we are short on time, so this is going to be last one thing, and we will have like a part two a few weeks later to this. So I'll catch these two ladies back here again, and we'll continue this conversation. But I also want to say one more thing before we uh, close this episode on, like, on it to be continued. What I also feel is that this, like, running this platform has also opened one more, like, eye to something, which is definition of success. And I'll tell you why. Before I had a podcast, I would, when I am a big time podcast addict, and I would think like, people who want to, like, people who have to be on podcast have to be very like, oh my god, they will be so successful, profound. I mean, they would have to achieve so much and everything like that. And I'm in my 50th episode of recording the podcast. And I realized that, today when I look for a guest, I'm always not looking, of course, I want people who are successful, who can share values and everything. But as a podcaster, I am looking, like, I look from an eye of a curator, and I'm looking from what I can extract from a person, even if that person is early in their career. But I'm sure, like, there's something that they've done, they have to share something that will help someone else. And that, how this definition of what a successful artist is, or what success is so subjective and relative, that I feel like, oh my god, like, I still remember, like, I just recently, so many times I reach out to someone who's very, like, maybe a little early in their career, but I like, I maybe they worked on a project, and I wanted them to come on the podcast and maybe talk about it, how they got it or something. And a lot of time they reach out and they said, I've just started or something, and I don't want to share, I think I'm not. And I tell them, you don't have to be profound, you don't have to share knowledge, you have to share experience. We're all here to share experience and not only knowledge. Someone who has knowledge, great, but we all have experiences that we all can learn from each other. And it's twisted, like, it's really changed my perspective towards how I see things today. Before that, I would feel like, I would hear someone, I would be like, oh my god, if I even want to be here, I have to be this thing and that thing and all of those. And today I realize, like, on sitting on the other end of the uh, tunnel. Yes. So closing my point, this is something that I feel like is another very valuable giveaway for me, which is has shaped my definition of how success and successful people and what success as an artist feels like. True. Mona, do you have anything else to add to this? Your profound what? Because you're very profound.
I think I just this is a topic that we can elaborate on in the next session as well, because it's a lot about mindset and our limiting beliefs, and that is something we need to address in order to like open up for possibilities in our businesses, right, and art practice. So that's just one idea for next meeting, next session. Thank
We are
you.
still not done. I have to get you back, so don't thank me right now. We need to do one more or two parts with this one, because I feel like there's so much that we need to touch upon right now, that of course, because of our like deadlines and our meetings right now, we can't. But I'll get hold of two of you. But before we end this episode, I just want to say something. Anyone who's listening to this episode, this has been something different that you will be hearing on the podcast for the first time. And thank you so much to Victoria and Mona for having the faith and joining in me in this discussion and being here. But since this is improvisation and life is all about improvisation, we thought we would be recording this in one go. But since we are not, if you've enjoyed this episode, and we will be recording another episode, we would love to hear from you. Do you have any questions for Victoria, Mona, or me? You can always go to www.arts2heartspodcast.com, and you can see a little mic icon there where you can actually send a voice note. And in the next episode, I can actually play that for all of us. We can always play and answer those questions. If there's something that you really want all of us to talk about, share about, please reach out to any of us, reach out to me, Mona, Victoria, and we would love to share our thoughts, our experiences. Or if there's anything else that your feedback on this episode, that would mean a lot.
No, I think I'm pretty excited about our next session, because that will be, well, this one was more about the business, like behind the scenes of the business. Let's make the next one about the mindset, just because I feel that's like
Oh my god.
so important.
Yes, you guys, if please, this is the first time that we're doing something like this. So please, if you're hearing to this episode, just share this episode in your stories. Tell us what you think. What is that you have that you would want us to talk about, share about. any questions you have for any of us that you would want us to answer, we would love to do that. And till we see you soon again. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. You can find all the details and links mentioned in the show notes of this episode available on www.arts2heartsproject.com. And if you like this episode, please don't forget to tag us in your stories and leave us a review here on iTunes or any of your favorite platforms. It really helps us to keep the show going. Thank you so much. I'm sending you lots of love and I can't wait to be back here soon again. Bye.